Okay, so we're driving around the neighborhood 1 year after Hurricane Helene and looking at the devastation that remains. And this one looks like it's in good hands. There's people doing work on the building. That's always a good sign. What you can't see, because you aren't familiar, is that this was a forest. There were trees that arched over this whole big old road, and they're gone. You know, there's a few there, but only the small trees remained. In amongst the trees here, you'll see, if you look up, a lot of damage, and the trees all kind of at weird angles and stuff. And of course, there's a lot of beautiful homes that you can still see through. Look what a tragedy, that family. And after a whole year, a year ago this morning, the hurricane hit, and it's still like this. Although, beautiful home completely condemned. Here's another view up into the tree cover. You see how much is dead up above. And look at the broken trees. Do you see that? Broken. There were some really tall trees here that used to arch over the whole road. Broken. Look at the trees still at crazy angles up in there. You see that? There we go. Now this is very common. Every few houses, there's a house still covered with a tarp after 1 year. Okay, here we are, just a few blocks from our house. Here we go. This is so sad. This is a beautiful, horse ranch right in the city. It's a riding academy. You see some happy horses and some new construction and their home, I don't know if you can see it, completely covered with tarps still a year later. Keep looking, the house is right through in here, look at the down trees. It's a year in the making, and still everything messed up like this. Okay. Everything I've shown you has been within 6 blocks of our house. There's some new roofs. She's done a ton of work on her house. And there's some devastation remaining. I'll get out. We're pulling up on our own house. I'll show you what. There's a view, and ours is the big yellow one. And this is our house. See the tree all sideways? See that tree all sideways and coming apart? Pieces of it have fallen. They call that kind of a sideways tree a widowmaker. See it there? This house, vacant. They weren't hit that bad over there. This is an all-new fence. That fence was completely smashed by all the trees that fell. And this used to be, you couldn't see the sky here. This used to be totally shady. All the trees are gone. All the big trees are gone. Right? Big trees. Nope, no more big trees. Here's my oak tree. This is a swamp laurel oak, and it has a leaning branch right there. I gotta get taken down. It's very expensive. Here's a couple of large stumps. You see these 2 big stumps? These are the trees that fell on Mr. Marty's car and on my car right across our front yard. The grapevines were just absolutely smashed. I did not think they'd recover. You can see they've done a pretty good job of recovering. This is this one little thing here, just one little branch is all that's left of a stand of Ponca Tribe fancy bred blackberries. They're thornless. See? Thornless. Makes really beautiful fruit. And that's the last of what had been a beautiful stand of Ponca blackberries along here. I've replaced my fence with just this wire sheep fence because it was cheaper. And I had, not much help. And this was Mr. Marty's apricot tree. He loves apricots. And it was killed. It was smashed. I propped it back up and it never really came back to life. I kept hoping, but it died. Okay, here's my yard. There's Miss Daphne. And I'll show you some befores and afters. This used to be all shade. And look at it, there is no shade at all back here. I had to rig up shade for her. This is a 20 by 24 foot foundation that was my greenhouse. Keyword was. Next to the greenhouse over here was my duck habitat. Now I have a neighbor. I never saw her house before because the forest was so thick. And there it is. I helped her with her recovery by letting a truck come through our yard. Over in this corner there was a tool shed, solid wood, really beautiful, and it's gone. Okay, survivors. A row. Well, you can see it was a long row. See, that is asparagus, and this is this row of asparagus. So a lot of the crowns were destroyed, but a lot of them survived. And this over here, this was collard greens, a whole perennial collard greens, that whole, and they were destroyed partly because the lack of shade. The summer destroyed the last of them. Now, look into this neighbor's yard. They can't deal. They can't deal. All these trees went down, and they said, "Oh, we can't get back there. It's too dangerous." Now they could come through our yard. We would help them with that, But the whole yard, see the fence, everything, all smashed up, and they kind of just left it that way. See the crazy angle of this big stump right here? Sideways stump. There's another one over there. And there's a big one. See the tree laying on its side? Cut off there. Those trees were huge, and they both hit the house. They both hit the back of my house.